I'm Glad It's Christmas is a pretty good film with some gorgeous music. This was released in 2022. It's directed by Ernie Barbarash and it stars Jessica Lowndes as Chloe. We also have Paul Greene as Jason and Gladys Knight as Cora. And Chloe has been living in New Jersey for 5 years, almost 5 years. And that's significant because she told herself that if she didn't make it on Broadway, or at least with a relatively successful acting and singing career within 5 years, she would go back home. And time is running out, and it's almost Christmas, and she's got a couple of auditions left, but whether or not any of them lead to anything, I'm not going to say. But while she's focusing on that, we also have the beginning of a romance between her and Jason, and they work together really well because it just so happens that Jason is a jingle writer and he writes an original song in the film, and the song is really great. I really, really enjoyed that song and found it to be very effective and very catchy and helped to draw me into the narrative and made me, I believed he was a jingle writer. I could feel her passion for singing, and a lot of it does centre around this really lovely song, and it also helps to solidify the relationship that's growing between them. Cora has actually asked them both to help her put on this Christmas show that apparently used to be on every year, but it hasn't been, and she's asked for them to help start the show up again, and a lot of the film is about them getting things ready for that. So there's a lot going on. The characters, particularly Chloe, they have a lot going on, a lot to deal with, and a lot of it's uncertain. Will the show go on? Will any of the auditions be a success? Will anything come of this relationship? I won't answer any of those questions, but I really enjoyed it. And even though it's got a lot to it, a lot's happening and a lot's going on, I never felt like we were rushing through the narrative or like they were piling too much on at any one time. I actually think the pacing was great. Each problem or each part of the narrative had enough focus. Obviously, there were times when things overlapped, but I never felt like there was too much going on to relax. It is obviously meant to be a heartwarming, easy to watch film, as romantic Christmas films usually are, and it definitely fits that bill. But it's also a very well constructed narrative, and as I said, some really gorgeous music. So relaxing, but still a lot going on, that it never felt boring. It didn't feel stale. It didn't feel like we could remove anything either. A lot of Christmas films like this, you can remove half of the film and you're not losing anything. But actually, I feel like pretty much every scene was integral to the development of the narrative, which is quite rare and certainly something that's worth praising. The only thing that I didn't like in this, and it's such a, well, it might be a weird thing to get annoyed about, I don't know, but there's a scene where Chloe and Jason are serving a customer and they're both singing to each other, paying full attention to each other, singing to each other while the customer is just standing there. And that is so rude. You're supposed to give the customer your full attention. So that, it lasted, maybe 7 seconds or something, but it really irritated me. But aside from that, it's a really lovely film, very festive, gorgeous music, very well written, well constructed narrative with really some very likeable characters as well. I'm Glad It's Christmas. It's one that I'm glad I watched, and I'm very happy to recommend it.